The last year and change has been interesting, to say the least. And I think all of us knew that at some point Hollywood would come knocking and say, hey, let's make a bunch of films about this. I'm sure I've already seen a few zombie-based films, but I basically think if there's a genre out there, there is something either that's done or it's in the works as we speak, because Hollywood will do that, even though we really won't want to see that stuff this time next year, or even in the future. We'll want to forget this chunk of our lives, thank you very much. When we're in history books in 40 years, and our kids are asking us, what did you do during the Rona? We're going to have flashbacks, we're going to have PTSD about this. It's not going to be fun. But one of the things I don't think any of us expected to see was a Zoom seance gone wrong. But Shudder said, I've got something for you. It's called Host. It was written by Rob Savage, Gemma Hurley, and Jed Shepard. It was directed by Rob Savage, and stars a bunch of ladies who all do a pretty good job. Do you want it? And we went, yes, Shudder. We will watch Host from 2020. No problem at all. Let's do this. But I do think a lot of us who have raved about it in the past were maybe a bit content starved. I don't think there's really anything majorly new here, majorly innovative. Yes, we've never seen specifically a Zoom seance, but we've seen Unfriended, and to a lesser extent Unfriended.web, because there's less of a supernatural element. We've seen Searching, which is all, on a computer. We've seen these kind of things out there. But, this was, under an hour, because it cleverly wove in Zoom's time limit. It was actually an important part of the plot towards the end. I think it just gave them an easier way to wrap up, if I'm being honest. But like I say, all of the cast here gave a great performance. I think everyone did a good job with what they had. Gemma was annoying because she was meant to be. She was written that way. It wasn't a bad acting choice. Hayley was trying to take it seriously. Ceylon was the classic kind of witty, space cadet almost, you could argue. I've dabbled in it, and I know I've got people who are still in that world now, and they're not like that at all. It is a concept, or an idea that people have. I don't know why I said concept weird then. But it is an idea that people have of these kind of people. And I totally understand, them being a bit, let's joke every time she says astral plane. Teddy's kind of not really invested because he just wanted to spend some time with Ginny. All these kind of things. Every character was their own thing. And I'm very much in Emma lately because I've been fascinated with, sort of filters on video and stuff like that. It's been fascinating to me. I've not really done it that much in the past. But I did enjoy the story for the most part. It was a great idea. And the fact that Gemma's annoyance and lack of respect is what actually led to everything. It was her fault, even though she does try blaming Hayley later on. I think really it is Gemma's fault. If we're going to place blame in this film, Gemma is fully in the wrong. She's the one who made up this story about Jack, which apparently gave whatever entity a persona to come through as. And I love moments like, we see in a lot of films where you'll have a panning shot, you'll see something that's like, ooh, what was that? And they go past it, and then they pan back, and it's not there anymore. I did skip back, because I was like, did I just see legs? Because Jack apparently hanged himself, even though he wasn't a real person. I really have an issue with faces being, broken, basically. I think I've mentioned before that Pan's Labyrinth bottle thing and various other things have really unsettled me a lot over the years. If it's really obvious, terrible crap effect, it's less of a problem, but there is a moment, even before it becomes crap effect in some places, where it does seem quite believable. And I just get really unsettled by that. I don't know why, specifically that is one of my things. The moment of Caroline's face being pounded into the thing, that was really upsetting for me. But that was about the only really upsetting part of the film, I would say. I wanted to like this, but that maybe because it was so hyped. A lot of people, like I say, were raving about it, thought it was absolutely amazing, best thing they'd ever seen, loved it. I think they were just content starved. And I'm going to stand by that, because I believe the hype and I didn't get it. The fact that it ended, like I say, I loved how it wove in the Zoom time limit, fine. But I hate that it ended with a stock jump scare, basically. It was terrible. I actually paused it and went frame by frame, and the face is just so generic. It had a lot of potential. There were moments that I wasn't as uncomfortable as the whole face in the keyboard, but I was unsettled in a lot of cases. I was on edge. I was kind of expecting stuff to happen, and sometimes that came through and sometimes it didn't. I was feeling for these girls. I did worry about their safety, granted, and I was wanting them to come out of this alive as much as possible. But I was also not... I didn't enjoy the scares. I didn't enjoy the moments because I think they all felt really cheap to me. I think really the sign of this was early on when Gemma's trying to get her attention to let her into the call and throw something at the window. It's there as a jump scare right before anything creepy is meant to be happening. That, I think, should have been the warning sign, but I didn't take it as that at the time. I was just like, okay, fine. That sort of full scare at the start, I think, should have been the warning sign. I didn't enjoy this as much as I expected to, given what everyone had said. I appreciate the effort that went in, and people were doing what they could in a lockdown situation. I totally respect that. I do. Don't get me wrong. This isn't me slating the film entirely. The idea's great. The concept of, doing something like this is great. It's just the execution that falls down. It leans too much on jump scares. Whether Shudder were pushing for that, saying you need to put more of this in because that's what people do these days. Nobody actually likes these. Shudder, anyone, Blumhouse in particular, anyone who makes horror films, listen to the next sentence out of my mouth. No one likes jump scares. Stop it. An earned jump scare is fine. A lot of us prefer a nice creeping dread with occasional release moments. This is what the classics do. Nothing of the last decade has really stood out because they rely on cheap jump scares. Do not give us full scares. Do not give us, bam, just a face. Stop giving us this crap. No one likes it. People say, oh yeah, I got really fun and really enjoyed the jump. But do you remember the film? Do you remember why that jump happened? Do you remember the lead up to it? No. So just stop. I think without those jump scares, maybe this film I would have liked better. I think the jump scares and all that kind of stuff ruined it for me. Like I say, I cared for these characters. I wanted to see the conclusion, but jump scares can just go and die a quiet death, please. So, yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, I don't want to say, don't watch it. I'm not saying that at all. If you haven't seen it yet, go and give it a watch and, enjoy it for what it is. See the potential. But don't expect the great big thing to come out of the Rona situation. But yeah, so that's all I want to say for this. Next time I'll do something different, but until then, as always, thanks for watching and take care. And I promise there are no jump scares coming at the end of this video.